let's talk turkey. When we talk about truth, there's a person's truth, and then there's a drug's truth, right? Those are very different things. For a while, the country was transfixed when all of the chaos happened over the 2.5 Men period that led to the Tiger Blood era and all of that. You know, he's in the fight of his life here, right? And he was not sober. And then, you know, you started to smell the fumes of some shit that was going on. But now, I think, to have that same gifted person being able to talk directly to us sober, the only thing I know or feel myself very strongly is if you ask Charlie what did he do this, he's gonna tell you the truth.
It's a good day to be alive. I've been able to re-embrace life through this program. I want to thank my family for their support, my friends. I want to thank my fans for all their support, their letters, kind words. And the next time we do this will be at a premiere.
He was in rehab, right? And he's like, gives me a call. He's like, hey, they're letting us out. So, of course, you know what he wanted to do? He wanted to go to the baseball field. Who brings him to the baseball field from rehab was Martin. As we arrive, there's a game going on at the field. It's like a Sunday league game. Of course, I'm egging him on to let Charlie play in the game, right? And then finally, they see who it is. Oh, yeah, of course he can play. And this was one of the best moments. This was... My man gets up during the game. He hits a home run in front of his dad, just leaving rehab. That does not happen. I could not believe that actually happened, man. I wish I had the ball, but...
It's nice to have a second shot, you know, second chance. And they say that success tasted the second time around is so much sweeter, and I plan on tasting that.
The only parts that were being offered to me coming out of rehab were forgettable supporting shit. I was looking for structure, a 9-to-5 job. And I was looking for consistency, and I was looking for something that just felt like it would present its own rhythm that I could just naturally kind of slide into. You know, I'd grown up on sitcom television and a huge fan of it.
There's a very, very, very fine house with 2 cats in the yard. Life used to be so hard.
And always drawn to it as a medium that presented scenarios in a way that were digestible.
Okay, this is the most romantic disease I've ever had.
But felt harmless because of all the humor, you know, so you could still come away with it touching some part of you, but without feeling like, you know, you had to dig through, you know, to such a depth to find it. And I got the call.
Let's start looking into alternative dump sites, all right? Vacant lots, barges, New Jersey.
They're shutting down Spin City because of Mike's health.
Did you know of all the brain disorders, Parkinson's is the one that scientists believe may be closest to a cure, yet we still need funding.
And they're thinking, would you be open to stepping in? You know, those aren't just big shoes to fill. Those are like stepping into the boots of the fucking Jolly Green Giant.
What did you say your last name was again?
Whoa, let's not rush things. And they built in a backstory that's pretty cool and pretty fucking funny that I was a guy showing up that had a few skeletons, you know? And that was cool, because they were tying into us actually finally, me being in on the joke about all the shit that everybody had read about and heard about.
So, this is what it's like to be the sober one. I wonder I was so unproductive in the 90s.
was a good feeling for me because during Spin, West Wing was going on, right? So Dad would come to the condo on Tuesday nights, I think, but we were able to watch Spin and then watch his episode. And the ratings the next day, West Wing destroyed us.
I'm really nervous and excited, and I'm happy to be here.
And then I got nominated for a Globe.
Not bad. You remember what I taught you?
Is that the first major award that you won throughout your career?
It's the only one.
The only one, yeah. It's still
That's it, yeah.
I've never been invited before, and I'm with my lovely fiancée, Denise.
Hi, I'm Denise Richards.
Charlie Sheen, Spin City.
Denise, you were right. My lovely fiancée had a dream I was going to win.
I know this girl named Denise. She makes me weak at the knees. When she holds me, won't you tell me, do you love me, Denise? Do you love me, Denise?
I feel like so many people are going to be surprised that you would be in this movie. Why are you here?
There's a lot of stuff that I know and I'm privy to and Charlie knows that I am. I want to be honest, peel the layers and be honest, because otherwise, this movie is gonna be a fluffy, glossed over, sugar-coated piece of shit. My dad brought my sister and I to see Platoon when I was a teenager because my father's a Vietnam vet. And no offense, my dad should have brought us to see like a movie with girls and makeup and stuff. He brings his daughters to see Platoon. And I said to my dad, would you ever thought that bringing me and Nellie to go see Platoon, that I would marry that fucking guy? Right?
I met Denise on a film set. It's kind of a forgettable film called Good Advice.
So we can enjoy the life we deserve and more.
And more. It's an instant fantasy. Yeah, I mean, she was like the hottest woman alive at the time.
He was like beating around the bush and was shy. And I was just like, spit it out. Do you want to go out to dinner or what? And then I think he got nervous about that. That's the thing that people would be very surprised by. Charlie can be very shy. Then he told me about this game.
Are you a baseball fan? She was like, not so much. I said, do you know what Barry Bonds is? She was like, I've heard of him. I said, well, he's on this epic record-chasing run right now. And that the night you want to get together, he's going to be in Houston sitting on number 69. And she's like, okay, what does any of that mean? All it means is I can't miss this game. If you want to come over, we'll get some takeout.
I didn't want to be the reason why he missed that game. He didn't want to cancel our evening together, which I thought was very sweet. And so, against what my dad advised me going over there, I still went over to Charlie Sheen's house and watched the game with him. We microwaved our plastic meals. I brought mine that I had delivered for my delivery service. He had his. He was on the Zone diet. I was on a different one. It was very romantic.
And we're watching the game, and like that entire season, I think he probably walked his first two at-bats. And I remember it was later in the game, might have been 7th or 8th inning. The pitcher made a mistake. He threw a strike.
69 home runs for Barry Bonds. The 1-1. There it goes! There it goes! Number 70 for Bonds. Over the right center field bullpen of the Houston Astros. And now
I think we both kind of saw that as maybe a sign of something. And so the game ends, and we had a nice time together. I walked up to the doors at my condo in Westwood, and I said, well, excellent, cool. Let's do this again sometime soon. No pressure.
He had a calmness about him, and he seemed very grounded.
I was not making that first move. A little bit old-fashioned that way, you know?
He wasn't the guy that people read about. He was very different.
Especially sober. You know, you're still trying to, like, figure out, like, how your body moves through space, you know? And she starts to turn away, and then she grabs the back of my head and just pulls me into a kiss, you know? Yeah, I was on.
I didn't have sex with him that night.
Well, what would you say if I told you I'd leave you if you didn't let me?
There was just such a connection with he and I.
When Denise and Charlie were married, they both seemed so very happy. And I said, oh, he's going to be together with this woman for the rest of his life.
It's all there. It's all there, and the bells are ringing.
My first guest, of course, stars in the hit sitcom Spin City, which will air its hour-long season finale next Wednesday on ABC. Please welcome Charlie Sheen.
In that moment, life's pretty great. But then we got the call. Spin City canceled.
Did you take that personally?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. We decided we're going to parlay that into putting the word out that I'm going to continue in this space and I want to have my pick of the litter. And I get a call. Chuck Lorre wants to sit down with you.
You have somehow hit the sweet spot. I think you've created 2/3 of the television shows on the air.
I'm very sorry. The idea for 2.5 Men involved two brothers, one of which was a Job character, the biblical Job. He was a hardworking good man to which endless shit happened. One of which was a Dionysian character, hard partying kind of guy. He was the god of merriment and wine and sex and whatnot. And when my partner on this project and I went to CBS to pitch the idea for 2.5 Men, I explained the character of one of the brothers as a Charlie Sheen type character. To which she said, "Can you get him?"
Oh, is she staying over? Because I may have parked behind her.
I remember our first shoot. He sort of took me aside and said, I want you to know, I know there's a lot of stories about me. I've been sober for 2 years, and it's incredibly important to me to be faithful to that. And I'm really trying to change my life. And I thought it was really interesting that he felt the need to express that to me. He felt the need to say, I'm going to be serious about this. Don't be worried.
Sometimes in the middle of the day, for no reason at all, I like to make myself a big pitcher of margaritas. Take a nap out on the Sunday.
Huh.
Charlie Sheen is an icon of decadence. I mean, just say his name and everybody knows what that means. So everybody expects this the Lothario guy, this guy who's got the quip handy, he could party all night, show up an hour late, breeze through makeup, saying hello to everybody, who's always gonna be the cool guy in the room. But you start to realize, oh, okay, there's a lot going on there that he's covering. Charlie's actually this mass of fears. Once I understood that, I understood a lot more about Charlie. But he goes in and out of being able to have a healthy way of dealing with that, and then an incredibly destructive way of dealing with that, which is, you know, the drugs and the partying.
At the risk of dating myself, there was a Dean Martin quality, an effortlessness. He played a guy who was inebriated with great class, which Charlie did as well. I think Charlie made what otherwise would be a disreputable character lovable.
Charlie's Angels.
That's Charlie Sheen's brilliance. That's his comedy chops. That's his acting skills.
Let's have a look.
Okay, in my defense, it's a little cold in here.
I thought he was always going to maybe be more of a comedic guy because he had that natural ability that you can't teach someone. He had that. And he would love to have that last line before he walked out of the room.
You know, I didn't know how that television world worked, but I knew it was a lot of work.
This is a support group, John. You're the only one who's pretending it's about scotch and cigars.
And even though I knew his humor, the way he was able to own the medium and do it where he's leading a show, he's leading the comic timing with very good assist plays, I guess I was surprised and delighted by it.
You'll have to forgive my brother. He thinks with his penis, and his penis isn't very bright.
That's true. Anybody who knows me will confirm that.
this didn't build. There was an audience for it almost immediately.
Keep your hands off my wife.
Obviously, it was a huge hit right away.
Yeah, we kind of killed it out of the gate. And I remember watching football that last Sunday before we hit the air. We were every other commercial. They were pumping us. Yeah.
It's difficult to sort of temper your confidence because it all feels so easy. It's funny. This is funny. You know, it's easy to be funny. Everybody loves us. And when it feels that easy, it's easy to sort of get lulled into this sense that this is always going to be this easy.
They brought the idea to me, how do you feel about having Denise on the show as a romantic interest? And I'm like, cool. It's the easiest way not to get yelled at when you get home about kissing a girl. Come to Mama bumps me a little. Can we make it come to Catholic schoolgirl?
Yes, Monsignor.
Hallelujah.
Denise, she struck me as somebody who was just way more practical than Charlie. She's the anchor he needs in his life.
Oh, look at what a good poopy you made.
There needed to be a baby in the scene, and we had Sam. She must have been a couple months old, and she was cooing at the time. And the strangest thing happened where she didn't make a peep during our dialogue. And Chuck pointed this out when he was in post with that episode, that he said, your daughter inherited your timing because she didn't speak over a single, not just a line, a single word between you and her mom.
Would you throw this away?
Sure.
I could sense there were things that he was just never going to be that suburban, be more of just a regular married guy. I felt like it might be, you know, fighting against the tide.
What's wrong?
Nothing.
At one point, Denise showed up unexpected, and I get this frantic knock on my door, and it's Charlie. I opened the door, and I was like, hey, what's up? And he's like looking around frantically. I mean, it's the guiltiest look around. I mean, it's like a cliche. And he said, hey, man, can you hold this for me? It's a brown paper bag. And I'm like, what is it? You know, I'm not going to hold it. Is it legal? What? He said, no, it's legal. It's legal. I was like, oh, okay. So I put it in my dressing room, and I closed the door. And the bag is just sitting there, looming. And I was like, what could possibly be so embarrassing that Charlie Sheen doesn't want his wife to see it? So finally, I couldn't help it, and I looked in the bag. It was legal. It was barely legal, the porn magazine.
How? How do I push you away?
But I felt really bad that Charlie's relationship with Denise was going south.
You can't commit.
Hey, I can commit.
Oh, yeah? Prove it.
As soon as the show started getting really successful, I think the pressure of that changed him. It was almost like he was sabotaging the success and sabotaging our family. When things started to go good, I felt like things were being sabotaged.
Just try one of these. It'll relax you.
Oh, perfect. Charlie, you can't just pop a pill without knowing what it is.
She just said what it is. Thanks, Mom. Gotta go.
I was feeling squirrely, you know, and I was looking for anything that could be justified but not completely derail what I was trying to do. And pills showed up as the answer, so I thought.
When you say pills, what are we talking
Hydrocodone, you know, like a Norco or a Vicodin. It always starts with a doctor, and it's usually for some type of pain somewhere in your body that you could probably navigate with just, you know, Advil and ice.
Did you know yourself that you were an addict and that you were potentially going down this road, or how did you process? You didn't think about that.
No, I thought about it, but I negotiated the hell out of it with myself, you know. Yeah, okay, that thing went a little far, but maybe if I just make these few changes here, and I think it can be much more manageable, you know. And that's the fiction that we start to embrace as reality.
You can see the soulless emptiness in that shark's eyes. 2.5 men. You can see the soulless emptiness in Charlie Sheen's eyes.
Sadly, the pills, they do create a lot of just irrational anger.
When it started to change, it was quick. I remember reaching out to his sponsor and saying I was concerned, but people in his circle were like, it's your hormones, your postpartum.
Anytime I don't behave the way you want me to, you think it's hormonal.
Not every time, but you gotta admit, there is a pattern.
I was like, no, there's something fucking wrong. That's when I started to see that the people in his life were trying to, I felt, kind of pit us against each other, even though we were married and we had a kid and another one, a baby on the way. And that was very difficult for me. And I'm not just this quiet wife. I'm a strong woman, and something is not right.
Sheen versus Richards on Top NG. A California judge ordering Charlie Sheen to keep at least 300 feet away from his estranged wife, Denise Richards.
Yeah, I had the snap aggression because you're not mad at the person, you're mad at the fact that the second dose you had to take just to get right, just to feel kind of normal, didn't give you the pizzazz or the bump that the first 2 or 3 gave you. And so you spend the whole day, night, weekend, whatever, just chasing that first warm jets, like in an invisible jacuzzi. You were just warm jets, you know?
He got very kind of aggressive.
What she claims happened behind closed doors is remarkable. The most explosive charge, Richards says Sheen threatened her life.
I mean, what I went through, what he did put me through, I don't know how I'm here, to be honest. And I think the only way through tragedy, what I was going through, was having a fucking sense of humor about it, because it was so bad. It was so bad. So, and we can joke around like stupid shit. I know the outside people would think we're crazy, making fun. Oh yeah, I remember when you took a baseball bat to all the TVs and shit like that, or whatever, and we talk. It's like, it sounds horrible and very dark, but for us, that was the life getting through. I think that if I wasn't a strong person, I would have gone down a very dark road just to deal with all this shit. It was a lot.
I made it a lot more difficult than it needed to be, you know? And I own that. And I feel awful about that to this day.
Do you think he really even cares about the kid? The video's out there.
Ever get any easier? No, no one wants to be down here. This isn't for publicity. This is embarrassing and humiliating, and it's for my kids.
At that time, Denise and Charlie, he had 2 daughters. I said, if he's getting a divorce, it probably had to do with him being back on something.
Denise and Charlie, it was like unbelievable. But now, what's unbelievable is how ugly and nasty the divorce battle between Denise Richards and Charlie Sheen has become.
Because of the problems Denise and I had when Lola was born, I didn't have a chance to, in her early part of her life, to really bond with her.
I always wanted him to be sober growing up, just because you can't really have a real relationship with someone who is going through addiction. It's really hard because they're not in the right frame of mind and they can't really talk to you the way that they would want to talk to you. So, yeah, I really was never really close with my dad when I was younger. I was always the one who was told less, I think because they wanted to protect me.
I did want us to just pretend like everything was fine in front of the kids. It's not their fault we got divorced. They didn't ask to be born into a broken family. They didn't ask to be born into a family that is super public and all this shit. Sorry.
It's all right.
Sorry, you guys.
We just take it.
No, I don't care if they record. It's okay.
I do.
No,
I
they
think
should record.
I know, but I think
No,
that,
they should. You're doing a fucking docuseries. They should. It's fine. I don't care. Because it's true. If you're gonna get the truth, get the fucking truth. The truth is I feel like my life with Charlie is 3 stages. It's the time I met him and married him, then my divorce, and then the aftermath of it. You know, and I'm sorry to get so fucking emotional about it, because it was a lot, and I've had to fucking hold it together. Like this?
Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Oh, you know what I remember him from, too, being young? Oh, he was the hot football stud, Lucas?
Yeah.
Because he was just the hot, because I loved Dirty Dancing. I was a dancer growing up, so of course I remember him from that.
Just to make sure we're clear, he wasn't in Dirty Dancing.
Oh my goodness. So I think they literally had just gotten divorced, and then that's when I met him.
She showed up like a lighthouse in a frickin' storm. It was at a party at a friend's house. We talked, just, spent an hour together just casually at that party. Found out she was 5 years sober. And I got her number, and we talked a few days later. Then I went to her house, and we hung out, said goodnight. It was all very old-fashioned, I just dug her spirit, man. I dug her light. I dug her energy.
When Charlie got remarried to Brooke, I was not able to be there because I was on a movie, so my wife went. And my wife called me afterwards and said, "Oh my God, I have concerns," is what my wife said. She said, "Okay, I just want to tell you the toast that Martin Sheen made at the wedding." And I said, "Okay," I braced myself. And he apparently stood up, said, "I hope you two know what you're doing," and sat back down. That was the entirety of Martin Sheen's toast at Charlie Sheen's wedding.
Brooke is from Palm Beach. And I told the parents, don't let your daughter marry him. I think he's wonderful, but he's a disaster. Don't let your daughter marry him.
You know how one thing leads to the next thing, and marriage and children. Huh. When the boys were born, they both had these heart problems, and I couldn't get the show to shut down. So I was basically sleeping at the hospital and trying to learn my dialogue there and going and checking on them all hours of the night, and then trying to show up for rehearsals and run-throughs, and, on the phone with Brooke in between every take, and just really generating a ton of resentment that the show still mattered that much when the stars' kids at birth were in tremendous peril. I mean, the kids are fine. It was a temporary thing, and they got through it, and they're tough as nails. But yeah, at the time, it was scary, man. I'm not placing any blame. I'm just, trying to trace kind of the way things developed or unraveled or both. I remember the night that 9 years of no crack came to a tumbling, spectacular close. She's in the bathroom with this girl, and I can hear him doing blow. And I start banging on the door, and they're like, "What do you want? Don't be a party pooper." And I said, if you're gonna do this shit in my house, you need to stop wasting it, and you need to do it properly. Let me show you how to cook this shit up. And it was on.
I thought it was gonna die for 1 hour.
Okay, what's your name?
Brooke.
And what's your husband's name?
It's Charlie Sheen.
This is Charlie Sheen's mugshot from the Aspen Police Department. He spent much of Christmas Day on lockdown after his wife called cops to their rented vacation home.
It's important to note that there was a moment before I got on the plane to go there where Dad drove to the airport. And I remember I was walking to the plane, and he says, "Don't go. Do not get on this plane." I said, "What, is it gonna crash?" He says, "No. No, but he says, I've got a bad feeling about this." So he was the messenger that was sent to prevent all that heartache, I can't talk too much about, because we don't really know if she even wants to speak to it,
Tell me exactly what happened.
My husband had me with on the night, and I was scared for my life, and he threatened me.
We went hard fast. Here you are, a husband and wife in this tiny room, not leaving that room because we're doing so many drugs for so long that everyone starts becoming crazy and paranoid, and all kinds of bizarre behavior starts to happen, unfortunately.
She blew a .13 blood alcohol level, which is legally drunk, and she has recanted a good part of that story. So the whole issue, I think, is really up up in the air right now.
You know, I quickly recanted it.
You recanted it at the time?
Oh, yeah, I went in, and that's how he got off. Yeah, because I had to recant my story, and I remember the DA being very upset with me.
What do you mean you had to? Tell us that.
Well, if I didn't recant my story, then he could have gotten into a lot of trouble.
So you felt like you had to, just from the standpoint of protection of the situation that you were all in?
Well, of course, not only is he my husband, but also I was so incredibly screwed up on serious drugs for a very long time. I can't sit there and say, oh, okay, I know for a fact this happened, and this is how it happened, or anything like that because of the mind. So once I sobered up and I saw, whoa, what position did I put us in, and who the fuck was I? Excuse my language. And then I can't even recall. That's another thing. It's not like I have these specific memories of the night, and I was like, well, this happened, and this definitely happened, and I'm the victim because of, no. In fact, I saw myself as very psychotic.
Oh, I have my part in it, sure. Fuck yeah. And I've made amends with Brooke about it over and over. And yeah, we're past it. It sucks that it couldn't have just stayed between us.
I don't think it's fair just to pick up these moments at Charlie's lowest and define him as a human being based on those moments, especially with a history of substance abuse that alters your behavior and character. After that incident, it just blew us apart.
The rocky marriage of Charlie Sheen and Brooke Mueller may be coming to an end. Sheen filed for divorce from Mueller on Monday. Sheen was charged with domestic violence following a Christmas argument with Mueller.
That was the first time I thought of leaving because I didn't want to enable violence. And there was violence involved in that.
I think I had a talk with Chuck about it before sitting down for the table read. And he said, you need to do the right thing. You need to gather everybody and apologize. I said, I'm not doing that. They have to have that, you know, glom onto that with this big presentation that would have just been a fucking performance piece anyway, you know?
I brought this shame on myself. I hurt my wife, my kids, my mother.
Tiger Woods' career tanking after his scandal, but Charlie Sheen's career taking off even as his troubles continue to pile up. 2.5 Men topping the ratings on Monday, just days after his assault arrest.
Charlie Sheen's not hiding himself, and the public has kind of accepted it, whereas a guy like Tiger Woods, we imagine him as a squeaky clean, perfect athlete, so he does something wrong, and the public turned against him immediately.
It makes enormous amounts of money for CBS in ad revenue, $155 million last season, all told. They would rather not have to put up with Charlie Sheen's behavior, but they're sort of stuck.
No, Les Moonves showed up to his house, he said, at 9 o'clock in the morning with the head of Warner Brothers Television, and they said, here's 2 statements. Either we're putting out a statement that you've gone to rehab, and we are going to resume filming when you come back, or this statement is, the show is canceled and we're done.
He's in the midst of falling apart in every way that I can imagine, and he's renegotiating his contract for another year of a show that I'm supposed to be on, too.
Charlie, it's Alan, your brother. No big deal.
I remember saying, dude, I don't know, man. I just feeling emotionally done there, you know? And I get there's a ton of money at stake, and I get there's a lot more juice to be squeezed out of this thing, but I don't know how much juice is left in me. And I do fear if I go back, it's gonna go terribly wrong. I said those words.
Apparently they had pre-sold a couple extra seasons of the show. So, you know, it was worth their while to spend this astonishing amount of money on Charlie.
Jimmy Stewart, what was that called? And it was a game of telephone, yeah, between Moonves, my lawyer, and myself, and us, you know, rejecting, and really calling his bluff.
The dictator of North Korea was a guy named Kim Jong-il. He acted crazy all the time and thus got enormous amounts of aid from countries who were so scared of him that they would shovel money at him. Well, that's what happened here. His negotiations went off the charts because his life was falling apart. Me, whose life was pretty good at that time, I got a third of that.
Over here, guys.
I am very happy to have him back. He can't stop smiling. Absolutely. He's my cleanup hitter.
Charles the best.
CBS was really asking for it, and they got it. Charlie Sheen has signed a 2-year deal to return to 2.5 Men at $2 million an episode, making him the highest-paid TV star in history.
They made the biggest deal in history for any other actor on television at that time, and I think to date, actually. After his big contract, I was actually upset with his people. Like, why are you guys putting him on a show right now? Like, he's not well. But they just see the money and just want to keep on going.
It was all anybody can focus on, was that he was going to be the highest TV paid star of all time.
Yeah, that was a lot. It was too much money to give a guy like me in that, mindset at that time. It was a recipe for a disaster.
It does not always triumph. Sometimes, dark side.
Where are we?
We're sitting in my condo in Hollywood, California, which I got from Charlie. Well, I was kind of like working for him. I went from being a petty dealer to making so much money I didn't know what to do with it.
Marco, AKA Phil Hines, spelled just like the ketchup, is a friend of mine. And I don't remember exactly how we met.
I had just got out of prison and I get a phone call. He goes, "Hey, man." I'm like, "Bro, who are you?" He's like, It's me, Charlie Sheen." I'm like, "Oh my God, this has got to be a fucking prank." But I kind of recognized his voice because the only shit they played in prison was Cops, George Lopez, and 2.5 Men. At that time, I told my friend Barbie, I'm like, "Hey, are you down to go party with Charlie Sheen?" And she's like, "Oh, hell yeah. Charlie Sheen? I'll fuck him for free," she said. Every night for like the first 2 weeks, then to like every other night. And each time I would go to him, it was $15,000 every single time. Sometimes 20, sometimes 30. It was just like amazing. Like, oh my God.
There were some nights when it was just he and I, just hanging out, drinking and watching movies and listening to music and just doing like normal kind of fun shit, but just super high.
It was a tough decision because I had just got out of prison for a transporting charge. And I just wanted to walk in the right direction in my life. But then this opportunity came up and like, it was just like, kind of like winning the lottery. I mean, like, who wouldn't want to do it?
Every now and then, he'd start to do little things like he'd miss a day of rehearsal. In the back of your mind, you were always wondering, well, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. He shows up on Friday when we actually shoot in front of the audience, and he knows his lines, and he does a great job.
Now will you admit you've got a problem?
I really don't know.
I think the last couple of years of the show, I was certainly aware that things were coming unglued, and I was probably in a great deal of denial about it as well.
Your mind goes into denial thing because your livelihood depends on his livelihood.
Everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. We're going to be fine. It's all going to be fine.
Give me the phone. Give it.
It's here somewhere. Hold on. Okay. Let me just set this. Sorry, it's a deep pocket. Hold on. If you know what I mean.
They would call me all the fucking time to go there because I can't get fired. I was your ex-wife. I was already fired. So when they were desperate, they were like, "Could you please come over and see if he's alive? If we haven't seen him for 2 days." And so then I would pound on his door, and then I'd keep pounding. I'm like, "Open the fuck up." And I remember I brought food, and John Cryer was there when I get there. And I'm making sandwiches, and John was super nervous. And he goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "Well, he hasn't eaten, and I'm making sandwiches. And then you see 2 or 3 hookers come downstairs. And I remember John asking me, you're making them sandwiches? I go, well, yeah, I mean, what am I gonna say? Sorry, because of what you do for a living, you don't get one of my white trash mayo and mustard, turkey, cheese, lettuce sandwiches. It wasn't like I was making a gourmet sandwich. Like, I'm trying to help keep him good.
That's the chair that you just fucking broke on you, made you bust your ass. What are you gonna do with it?
Of course it is.
Sometimes he would smoke so much crack, he couldn't even speak. He would speak in tongues. He would call me and be like, I'm like, what? Piece of crap.
I wake up one morning and TMZ is reporting that Charlie's Mercedes is at the bottom of a ravine. And I'm like, holy crap, did he drive off a flippin' cliff? So I go into work that day, and he comes in, he's like, hey, man. And I'm like, hey, because I'm looking him up and down to see if there's scratch, because I assumed that he was loaded, he drove off the cliff, somehow survived, and then had to climb up the cliff to get back home. That is not what occurred.
Charlie Sheen's Mercedes was stolen from his home in Hollywood Hills, then pushed off a cliff along Mulholland Drive.
And then it happened again.
Twice in 4 months, the same cliff.
But he just appeared to take it in stride.
Gotta be something else going on in the world right now, right?
There's so much about his life that I will never understand. I could not live with that in my life. That somebody stole my Mercedes and drove it off a cliff twice would be something that would make me have a hard time sleeping at night. And then it was starting to show in the work.
Look, I understand your concerns, but it's not like that.
I could see his timing was off. He was clearly overcompensating for being loaded. He would come in and he would be super friendly to everybody. Hey, everybody, how's it going? And, and he would hug crew members, who were like, hey, hi, Charlie, good to see you.
What? Hey, great. Okay.
And that's when I was worried about Charlie every day. Every day I was like, is this the day that we're gonna lose him?
I considered Charlie a friend, not just a colleague at work. But there was fear that tragedy was right around the corner.
Yes, hi. My name is Dr. Nassif. I live in Beverly Park in Beverly Hills. Yes, sir. I just got a call from the residence of Charlie Sheen. He was very, very intoxicated. Also, apparently in a lot of pain. Kind of weird. It's a phone call I received.
All right, sir.
Troubled 45-year-old actor Charlie Sheen is back in the spotlight. Yesterday morning, he was rushed to Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Los Angeles. His father, Martin Sheen, was spotted there later that day. TMZ reports Sheen was taken out of his home on a stretcher and loaded into an ambulance.
You're hearing things from TMZ. You don't know what's true. You don't know what kind of shape he's actually in.
He's in detox after a cocaine and alcohol-fueled party a witness says lasted for days.
I've never seen someone so self-destructive. I thought maybe it was almost like a suicide binge.
We were all sure that he had OD'd and that he was probably very near death. And it was terrifying. But he just kept saying, no, I'm in the hospital now, but next week I'll be ready for the show.
Guy eventually shows up and he opens up his bag and he just dumps open, I would say about 5, maybe about this big.
A tennis ball size.
Tennis ball size of cocaine.
I would party with him for weeks at a time, which turned into months. And sometimes my body just wouldn't take it no more. And I would go home and sleep for a week or 2. And then when I would go back to party, he was still partying every single night. And I thought to myself, like, damn, this guy's not human.
Charlie Sheen's biology, whether you're talking about that or just surviving the kind of stuff that he has, it's a different chemical reaction. And I think that there is something biologically different about him.
We all sort of were looking at each other like, how do you deal with this? How do you deal with somebody just so intent on bringing themselves down? And he did this interview with Alex Jones, and I was stunned.
Let me just say this, that it's nothing this side of deplorable that a certain Chaim Levine, yeah, that's Chuck's real name, mistook this rock star for his own selfish exit strategy, bro.
And I later found out part of the reason he was going on those crazy rants was that he was using testosterone. That combined with the drugs that he was doing at the same time and drinking, and which he was all doing again, led him to just go on these manic episodes.
I mean, my testosterone was probably like 4,000. Normal high is like 710. So, yeah, that put me into crazy brain. Fucking crazy brain.
I'm a peaceful man with bad intentions. Okay, last I checked time, I've spent, I think, close to the last decade, I don't know, effortlessly and magically converting your tin cans into pure gold.
Charlie's the cool guy you want to hang with. There's something magical about the man. All that went away and was replaced by, what one might call a disease.
What I've come to really embrace in all this time since, so much of the anger in my personal life and the anger and the frustration of 2 failed marriages and 4 new children and just never not finding any real success in those pursuits, I decided to take out on Chuck.
And Chuck took it upon himself to shut the show down.
Are you taping this? Are you taping everything now? I have to go look at it. Sorry.
What's that?
Just got terminated by Warner Brothers.
My phone's going crazy.
I know, so is mine. This is a really good one. This guy says, any words for Warner Brothers? I said, see you at Fort Knox. That's the only place with enough gold to pay off your treasonous ways. Winner. Fired. Fired.
Congratulations.
Give it up.
Congratulations, baby.
Fuck that show, man. That show was totally beneath me the whole fucking time I was there. They never understood the fucking genius they had. They abused it and then dismissed it, and now they're gonna lose. Because they're not winning.
By the studio telling him no, I think that took his addiction to a higher level. And he's just like, well, okay, I'll show them.
It's the weapon of the trolls.
Okay. I'll use it against him one day. Find a way to harness it into 50 caliber strafing runs.
So much of the public were cheering it on.
You're my hero, Charlie. You're my hero.
People get excited by train wrecks, unfortunately.
What's that, Charlie?
If I knew, I'd be wearing it.
There you go, Charlie. You're a champ, bro.
They wanted to see the train wreck because we were in this new age where they could see all of it.
Now that I have your lazy fucking attention, world, sit back and rejoice. For the Malibu Messiah, the Condor of Calabasas, the fucking warlock of your jealous face sits before you.
God knows you offer it, people will take it. And take it, and take it, and take it.
Charlie Sheen, in his own words.
ABC's Andrea Canning was the first to sit down with him this past Saturday morning. There with him as our cameras started rolling at 5:30 in the morning, and he sweated through an intense morning workout. And at the end of our shooting, we wondered, as you no doubt will, what did we just witness? And what will happen next to Charlie Sheen and his family?
All these radio rants have people thinking Charlie Sheen has got to be on drugs again.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I am on a drug. It's called Charlie Sheen. It's not available because if you try it once, you will die. Your face will melt off and your children will weep over your exploded body. Too much.
It was stupid. It's embarrassing. Get him off camera, keep him indoors, get him some help. Put this train back in the station immediately, not just on the tracks. Bring it in for repair.
Tell me about the last time you took drugs.
Last time I took drugs, I probably took more than anybody could survive, you know?
What are we talking about? How much?
I don't know, man. I was banging 7-gram rocks and finishing them because that's how I roll. I have one speed, I have one gear. Go.
When Charlie said that he was smoking 7-gram rocks, he was smoking 7-gram rocks. I seen it with my own eyes.
How do you survive that?
Because I'm me. Because I'm me, I'm different. I just have a different constitution, I have a different brain, I have a different heart, I have a different, I get tiger blood, man.
There's a handful of people. In fact, most of the people that were at my level or Charlie's level are dead. We are like the last survivors.
If he had cancer, how would we treat him, The disease of addiction is a form of cancer.
I don't care if he's my dad or the guy down the street or someone that, fell out of the sky. No interest in that. I don't care if he's my dad. Back off with your judgment.
He just made the choices he made. And I don't know if he knew what the consequences would be or anything.
Aren't you getting that I'm not interested in the past at all?
It's just part of who you are and, you know, what's led to this place, so.
Yeah, kind of, but that's another paradigm I'd like to smash.
It got away from me.
We win so radically in our underwear before our first cup of coffee, it's scary.
Sheen calls them his goddesses.
Are you anti-Semitic?
Yeah, no, I'm not. Why would I be? I mean, based on what? No, that's a mindset that I would never entertain.
He goes by the name Chuck Lorre. His real name is Charles Levine,
Right.
but you chose to call him Chaim Levine. So you took the Hebrew version, which I think people were wondering, why would he do that?
I read it off a vanity card and said it as a joke. I don't know, I didn't make a big deal about it.
Sheen says he saw the name on one of the title cards Lorre inserts at the end of each episode of the show and was simply trying to be funny.
It got away from me, and the public outcry to keep it percolating, to keep it thriving, to keep it crazy was where I was taking my cues.
Okay, your passion is coming off as erratic to people.
Well, you borrow my brain for 5 seconds and just be like, dude, can't handle it. Unplug this bastard. Yeah, because it fires in a way that is, I don't know, maybe not from this particular terrestrial realm, you know? When you got tiger blood and Adonis DNA, man, it's like, get with the program, dude. You've been given magic, you've been given gold.
It was intoxicating, the response to that one interview.
Charlie Sheen is getting more popular by the day. He gained more than 1 million followers on Twitter in 24 hours.
It's the Sheening of America.
We're just sheening our heads off.
Sorry, Middle America. Losers winning. Bye-bye. Sirius Radio devoted an entire channel to him for a day.
Tiger Blood Radio.
Bakersfield Condors hosted Charlie Sheen Night. Buy one, get one Tiger's Blood ices and snow cones, and dress up like Charlie, get in for $2.50.
Winning, just winning. Winning, duh, winning.
The troubled star continuing his assault on pop culture.
It's kind of an gnarly image. I'm burning my own face, but I can't feel the heat.
But it's his references to warlocks and himself as one that has some people in Salem a little upset.
You shall speak the names of the craft no more. Charlie Sheen is not a warlock, for a warlock is a wise person who understands the ways of the spirit world.
As one poster on TMZ put it, parents, make your kids watch this. If that doesn't scare them away from drugs, nothing will.
I went over to the computer and I pulled the cord out. Went over to the thing, turned off social media, turned off all of it. You know, I had to just keep the faith and the thought that he knows we love him. We know he loves us. Hopefully that's enough.
Police removed his twins from the home, prompted by a restraining order from his ex-wife. The incident was caught on tape by Radar Online.
With the boys, they didn't have anyone, and I'm like, it's either that or they end up in foster care. So I took them for almost a year.
What about as a dad? I mean, your kids were taken away last night. Are you hurting at all?
Yes, I am. But on a battlefield, it's emotion and ego and panic that get in your way.
I was pursuing a lifestyle that didn't fit the reality. There was a huge lawsuit at the time with the studio. And so they were hanging on to a bunch of dough that they owed me. And I had, I had bills to pay, I had child support, I had all that fucking shit, and couldn't pay it. My managers approached me and they said, we got a call from Live Nation and they're curious if you'd like to do a tour. And I was like, a tour of what?
The troubled actor is taking his bizarre behavior out on the road for Charlie Sheen Live, my violent torpedo of truth.
I think what your name is synonymous, and I don't mean this in a negative way, is trouble. And I think like Torpedoes of Truth is so brilliant because it's like, it just sounds exciting. I think you are an American outlaw. And I think that the reason you got more Twitter followers than anybody on the planet is that.
Oh, we're ready to go?
I think that a lot of people in the audience enjoy Charlie Sheen vicariously. That he's living the life that they want. And a lot of them enjoyed the fact that he could have the highest paying job on the earth, say this to his boss, say this to his boss's boss, give everybody the finger, live his life, do every bit of drugs that he wanted. And they were mad that anybody was holding him to a limit, that anybody was stopping him. Really pissed them off.
This looks pretty good. I'll eat that. Whatever. You know, untreated crazy over time doesn't get better, it gets fucking worse.
And what do you say to the people who say that you're crazy or bipolar? You address a little in the show, but...
They don't know me. I was called bipolar. You guys know I'm by winning, right? Yeah. I'm not sure what the fuck bipolar even means. Where I let that thing take me. In this 100 days, maybe? It's 100 days that really fucking hurt the people I love. You know, put them through a lot of shit.
That was very hard to be in school because I would hear about things that I didn't even really know. I never really felt normal at school. I don't really have any friends from school except for like one.
Rock on, Charlie Sheen. Winning!
And yeah, you know, he's a breath of fresh air. It's like, no, he's a guy who got everything he ever wanted from this business. He just lost it, and he's having a tantrum.
This whole thing happened because I told my boss to fuck off. In so many words.
It feels weird. It feels like I'm watching somebody else. And I don't look at that stuff by design. It just creates such the shame shivers, you know.
You have a good time tonight, everybody. Sucks.
Should have worn Kevlar tonight.
New York's tougher.
Okay, well, the good news
LA's
is,
the toughest
the
city.
good news is Chicago's his #1 city for Twitter fans. They're there to fucking see him.
You know, there's an old movie called The Weekend at Bernie's with the dead guy. And there were times where it made me sad going to Charlie's house when he would have a bunch of people around. And I just felt like at times they would just prop him up, get him to sign shit.
Was he in any condition to be out there like that? No. I don't think so.
You want to see a certain creature, if you will. You want to see a certain bad person doing crazy, insane, bad shit and glamorizing it in some bizarre way and feeding it, and then at the same time demonizing.
Everybody in every other city that bought tickets, you just lost your money. He ain't gonna show up.
It would have been nice if somebody had stepped in and just was like, whoa, hey, whoa, this is not a spectacle for everyone's folly. This is a man that's in trouble.
It was a bunch of babble that no one could even understand. It was so stupid. I feel sorry for anyone who pays for these tickets for other cities.
If one more fucking person tells me just tell stories, I'm gonna tell the story of their firing.
But again, you know, I had to agree to all that shit. You know, I lit the fuse. I kind of had to deal with the concussion, size of the blast.
People excel at hypocrisy and trending thought and being part of a pack that is better than, is more than, and destruction. I don't think it adds to anybody's happiness, but it's very stimulating when you do it. And people are looking for that stimulation. And on the other side of it, things get injured, like Charlie. And he'll be the first to say he took part in that.
When that tour ended, man, I had a ton of shit. I had to suffocate. I had to drown. And I wanted to disappear. I just wanted to get into a dark room with a bag of dope and not come out.
He was just really, effed up at the time, and he would start crying. I would just give him a hug, like, hey, man, I'm here for you, man. Bottom line, I'm here for you.
Tony Todd was always a friend, and a true one.
I was just there, just trying to support him and just be by his side, man.
He would get a lot of criticism from a lot of different people about that he was just around me for the fun shit, for the bonuses and the trips and all this stuff. But I think he went also knowing that this group ain't gonna handle any of the stuff that I'll be looking for. I was glad that he was there down the hall in case some shit went bad. But I did always feel he deserved to be in the presence of just better things.
It's been nights where he kicks everyone out the house. Everyone get out, but I'm there. I'm still there. When I was staying at this place, I always had the closest room to him. And of course, in the back of my mind, I always thought that, oh man, one day I'm just gonna walk in that room and he's just gonna be gone. He's gonna be gone, and I don't know how I would be able to take that, but I just couldn't leave. I couldn't leave, and I don't think he wanted me to leave. As a friend, man, I can't let this person die on my watch. Oh man, it's like this. It's tough, man. I was getting ready to break down right there, man.
He got really sick. He thought it was because he was detoxing from coke, and I said, no, I've seen you detox before. This ain't it.
The kind of fucking pain I was in, and Denise, I don't know if she spoke to this or not, but headache and full body sweat that shouldn't exist while you're still alive.
I go, there's something wrong, and I said, I don't want to scare you, but when was the last time you have been tested for HIV?
I thought it was meningitis. I thought it was brain cancer. I thought it was stomach, liver, something where they were going to walk in and say, get your affairs in order, And when they didn't say that, when they said it, the HIV diagnosis, I was kind of fucking relieved, because I knew that the technology of the medicine had gotten to a place where you can live, you can have a normal freaking life. And in some cases, it's more treatable than diabetes.
I'd already had 5 friends with the same situation. I had to keep it to myself. I didn't have to sign like an NDA or anything, but I had to keep it to myself. And I was happy to keep it to myself. I didn't really think it was anyone's business.
The advice I was being given at the time spoke to keep this under wraps as long as possible.
I don't think any of us thought that Charlie would survive it. It was that bad, and his body was breaking down, everything. It was terrible.
He knew he was loved through all of that. It increases. It just more outreach, more love, more support. No shame, no judging, it's just, you're here, you're loved, let's move forward.
In that moment, I should have become a fucking vegetarian, and instead I became a crackatarian. Stupidly.
I just became very fond of him, you know what I'm saying? He's like, damn, that's my bro right there, dog. Like, I can't let that dude die. Like, he's too fucking cool, you know what I mean? His drug counselor at the time told me, is there any way that you can make it less potent for him? And I told him, I'll try. So little by little, I started to reduce the amount of cocaine that I was using to cook the crack. It looked exactly the same, but it was just less potent.
In my mind, I was purchasing and going through the same amount, but the percentage was being gradually reduced. So they were trying to get me off of crack by making weaker crack.
It took about a good year and a half, but that's how he got sober. He actually just got tired of smoking bunk crack, which he thought was good crack, And he just stopped doing it. He just wanted to stop doing it. All of a sudden, he's like, it was just a waste of time.
I was quite impressed when I found out later. I didn't know when it was going on. Talk about being forced to think so far out the box that you land on that. You know, he's not going to stop. That's been established. So how do we get involved in a way that at least puts him at you know, less risk? It speaks that I'm savable. I'm worth saving.
I don't like to think of people by the worst thing they've done and the worst person they've been, because we're all complicated and we've all done things we're not proud of and we've all done things that we are. And I try not to judge. And seeing, you know, somebody you know is capable of being a regular guy go off into that, you sort of go, oh, okay, you know, something is broken in him that may not ever be able to be repaired.
All right, here we go. Hey everybody, we're gonna clear this whole room out entirely for this part of the day. So everyone's gotta be out of the room if that's cool. Thank you so much. Now let's get into all the things you've never publicly talked about.
Yeah, last night, knowing that we were on the eve of doing this and what this part was going to involve, I was trying to remember what the feeling was. What was the, you know, what were the feelings that were really familiar? And what I connected it to was the night before I had to go testify in the Heidi Fleiss mess. And just what was expected of me then and what I knew I had to do and what my marching orders were.
There's effectively a gun being held to your head at that moment.
Sure.
And in this situation, you're walking into that discomfort, right?
Yes, because just certain things, certain behaviors, certain instances, memories have just for too long had too much power over me. And I'm tired of being held hostage by them.
The Corey Haim allegation, did that happen or did that happen?
Absolute fucking bullshit. This is where everybody's gonna like pause the doc and go find the fucking story and go for it. At that point, they'll have read more of it than I have.
This is The Rumor Report with Angela Yee.
Corey Feldman had premiered his documentary last night at a screening in LA. He says that Corey Haim said actor Charlie Sheen had raped him while they were making the movie Lucas.
In a scene that drew gasps from the audience at the premiere, Feldman names Charlie Sheen as Haim's alleged rapist.
I should have taken legal action against Feldman.
You know, there's a lot of good people in this industry, but there's also a lot of really, really sick, corrupt people in this industry.
But I didn't feel like giving that clown that much more, you know, content. He just went out of his way to like launch this thing, and we were friends back in the day, or so I thought. It's a piece of vile fiction, is what it is. The guy's mom came out and said, "This is impossible. This is impossible." So yeah, no, that one was just ugh, fuck off, you know?
ET can confirm ex-porn star Brett Rossi is suing her former fiancé Charlie Sheen, with the lawsuit claiming he hid his HIV-positive status while they were together.
So you were sued multiple times for allegedly exposing women to HIV. Was there like a knowing sexual appetite when you were diagnosed that you weren't being clear with people about?
No, I was up front.
There's some watching now who are probably thinking having sex with Charlie Sheen is like playing Russian roulette. Were you worried at all having unprotected sex with him?
He was very open with me initially about this.
I think that's an important thing to note.
So you knew the risks.
Yes, in fact, I did. I think it's just a lot of social stigma that came from back when there wasn't treatment for this and this was a death sentence. Nowadays, it's more of a comorbidity if it's regulated properly with the right medication.
And, I was wearing condoms and just, and I was, by then I was completely undetectable. So, I was checking every fucking box. And they'd be going into the drawers of my bathroom, photographing my meds, and those meds are only used for one thing in this life, And so they were sitting on like these insurance policies. And then I'd stop seeing them for myriad reasons. And then that's what would come out. The threat of, we're gonna expose your thing. I had to pay them more.
Do you remember how much money was a part of those kinds of transactions?
If I got off cheap, it was $500,000.
For a single person?
Yeah, and then that was getting off cheap. That was getting them to agree, like, during the first conversation. There was one that was 1.4. But you know what? But in all the craziness, there's only one person in the entire fucking mix that still has this thing, that has it, period. And that's this guy. Nobody got this from me. Period, the end, full stop. So, whatever anybody was threatening or what they were claiming on that front was absolute fucking bullshit.
That's important. So you're saying that it's never been passed on?
Never. No.
So then, in your own words, tell us, where did your sexual journey ultimately take you?
The tour is important because that crack cave I had to go into, coming out of the insanity, that's when a lot of the hypersexuality occurred. I think the best way to describe it is, crack is or base cocaine, the higher brow version of crack, is a very sexual drug. And, if you're looking at a menu, at some point, you're gonna turn that fucker over. Oh, shit, what's all this? Huh. Yeah, let me start with, let's go with that as an appetizer. You know what? Yeah, here's what I'm thinking. Let's just go with one of each. Let's bring me the chef's surprise, So, rather than really talking about what's on the other side of the menu or what dishes I specifically ordered, I think there's enough people that are going to come out of the fucking woodwork when they hear me present that and claim a lot of stuff. And some of it will be true, other parts of it won't be. But at that point, it's out of my hands, and I guess I encourage them to just have at it.
So this is the first time you're speaking publicly about having sex with men.
Pretty crazy shit.
How does it feel?
It's liberating. It's fucking liberating. And it's
like finally be able to say things.
Just talk about stuff. It's like a train didn't come through the side of the restaurant. A fucking piano didn't fall out of the sky. No one ran into the room and shot me. And so, no, it's uncharted.
Did the sexual journey wander into both men and women like just at that time because of crack, or was that something that had been going on for a while?
No, that's what started it.
Okay.
That's where it was born, or sparked. And then in, whatever chunks of time that I was off the pipe, trying to, navigate that, trying to come to terms with it. Like, where did that come from? Why did that come from? Or why did that happen? And then just finally being like, so what? So what? Some of it was weird, a lot of it was fucking fun, and life goes on. Look at the state of the fucking world. Look at the unflushed fucking toilet that we live in today and where we're headed. And like, this the other side of that menu really fucking matters. It really fucking matters. And so what? Someone doesn't hire me because, oh, he did all that shit. Whatever. Didn't want to work with you anyway.
But it's not as though you were sitting here being like, I fucking hate that that happened. You know what I mean? I'm just...
Oh, now I want to nuke the other side of the menu? Yeah. No, I don't. I don't. Because that wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
I think
there's nothing rational about that.
So walk us through how we end up here today, 8 years sober.
I knew that the hourglass was down to its final few grains, you know, that, yeah, I could just feel it, you know, and I was one of these people that was still, you know, carrying the torch for, I'm not doing crack, I'm not taking pills, I'm not doing all that garbage. I'm just gonna drink. I'm just gonna drink.
Jaden.
Yeah, I'm Charlie.
Nice to meet you.
Sorry, I'm so fucking
No, you're cool, man.
Hi, sweetie, how are you? What's your name? Tamara. Hi. Hi. Awesome. Wow. Yeah. No, that I think booze is the gnarliest drug on the planet. You know, I had been drinking in the morning, and Sam called and said that she had a hair appointment up in Moore Park, you know, and she was 12 or 13. And she had to be there like in an hour. It's like, shit, because I never drank and drove. So Tony was close by, and I said, we got to get Sam up to this thing. I can't drive. Had a few pops, and he was like, you got it. So we got her up there, we're on time, and everything was smooth and cool, but it was the drive back, you know? It was the drive back that broke my fucking heart. Because I could see her, like, I wasn't driving, so I couldn't really see her in the rear view, but I could catch little pieces of her in the side view. And she was just back there, and I don't think she was on a device of any kind. She was just kind of, and I knew that she was back there wondering, why isn't this just a me and Dad trip? Why is Tony involved? Why, nothing about Tony with her, whatever, but just about why did there have to be this added element? And that just the way I felt in that moment, after that moment, thinking back on that moment, it just felt like I'd let her down. I carried that moment forward, and I just thought, okay, what can I do, scheduled or spontaneous? When she or any of my other kids need something, I'm the guy, I'm the go-to. What can I do to ensure that that's the case? And it was pretty obvious. Quit drinking. Let's see where this takes us.
Well, I only recently started living with him and stuff, so we're kind of opposites right now.
Yeah.
I forget everything, he remembers everything, so with bottles, I always open bottles a little bit and then don't finish it. And then I accidentally leave the bottle out and then get another bottle to drink, and it drives him crazy. Even though a lot of our personalities are really different, they kind of fix each other's mistakes. When she's sober, she's great, so it's as long as she's sober, I'm happy, so.
Her timeline for recovery is just different from mine. That's all. And so, you know, she's chased the dragon a little longer than she probably should have, but she's starting to see that, you know, if you keep trading people for drugs, at some point you're just gonna be left with the drugs.
Yeah, Charlie really stepped up when my stuff was going dark, and it was really dark. And he had all the reason not to be there for me, because when you're not in your right mind, you become a terror for other people in your life. And now he's taken the role of the one who is the responsible protector, especially with the boys.
Oh shit, they're filming this.
Yeah, we popped up.
Okay, so hold on.
I didn't know that.
Hey, how are you?
Hi.
Hey, good to see you. Wow. How's the interview for the documentary going?
It's going so great. Thank you for asking.
Awesome. Good, good, good. Well, we're honored to have you participate.
Well, thank you. The honor's all mine. And so now he has this role that is very different than the role he used to have. And it's pretty beautiful, magical, and I think it's like a perfect living amends.
He's already gone bigger and better than anyone ever can. That's called his kids, right? You can't, there's no bigger movie than that, right? There's no bigger stardom than that.
I always call him when I need something, anything. I always feel like he's the first person who will answer the phone immediately. And he'll also drop everything to come help me. We started getting pedicures and smoothies together every like 3 weeks to a month. And it's just nice because I never used to have one-on-one time with him.
I feel like it's a deeper connection than most kids have with their parents.
Just want to say hello. Oh, it's going great. I still love him.
With 2 cats in the yard, life used to be so hard. Now everything
There's supporting players that are more important in the story than myself.
Our house is a very, very, very fine house with 2 cats in the yard. Life used to be so hard. Now everything is easy 'cause of you. Now I light the fire while you place the flowers in the vase that you bought today.
I can't imagine being my dad. Can't even imagine it. We banged heads a lot over the years. We haven't for a long time. We came to a place that's been beautiful. It's been nourishing.
What is true is that I'm proud of you. You're my boy. And I love you.
If I could put it in one word, gratitude.